Frederick Douglass is an example of somebody who's done an amazing job.
No matter what your feelings about our current president and his way with words, this quote left everybody scratching their head. Do you know what his mistake was? The answer lies in a tricky little tense we call present perfect simple. I'm going to explain by comparing the life experiences of Frederick Douglass to, say, President Trump. Douglass was a nominee for vice president in 1872. Trump has been president since January 2017. Douglass wrote 3 books about his experiences as a slave. Trump has written 17 books about his experiences being rich. Douglass had 2 wives. Trump has had 3 wives. The key difference in these descriptions lies in the so far. Because Trump is alive and Frederick Douglass is dead, we use present perfect to speak about Trump and past simple to speak about Douglass. Present perfect can be used to speak about the life experiences of someone who is still living, someone whose life is unfinished. There's no chance of Frederick Douglass getting married again, but Trump's future is a blank page. There are other functions of present perfect, but first let's look at the structure. He has been to space. Subject plus have or has plus the past participle. Because this is a perfect tense, it uses have or has. Now remember, when we are using I, you, we, and they, we use have plus the past participle. But the third person singular, he, she, or it, uses has plus the past participle. Native speakers often contract this, so we would say I've been to space, they've been to space, but for the third person singular, he, she, or it's been to space. Be sure to point out to your students that you're contracting has and not is. Now, how would you make this into a question? Has he been to space? Simply switch the subject with the has and add a question mark. And what about making it into a negative sentence? Simply add not between has and the past participle. He has not been to space. Or you can contract it to say, he hasn't been to space. Okay, so we know we use present perfect for life experiences of those still alive. We also use present perfect to speak about past events that happened in an unfinished time period. Like this week. This week is an unfinished time period. I've eaten a lot of pizza this week. This week is unfinished, so I use present perfect. But I could also say, I ate pizza on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This is the past simple, and I use it because Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday are finished periods of time. So even though I'm talking about the same times that I ate pizza, and they're all finished and they're all in the past, it depends on what time frame I'm giving. That's how I know if I use past simple or present perfect. Let's look at another example. We went to Rome in March and Paris in July. Past simple because March and July are finished periods of time. But speaking about the same trips, I can say, we've gone to Rome and Paris this year. This year is an unfinished time period, and so I use present perfect simple. Remember, all these events happen in the past, but we give them different time periods, and that's how we know whether to use past simple or present perfect. Let's say you're looking for some lower budget fun, and you're searching for something on Netflix with your friend.
Let's watch The Gray.
I've already seen it. How about Groundhog Day?
No, I've seen it 4 times. What about Freedom Writers?
Oh, I've cried too much lately. Let's just go for a beer. In these sentences, we never mention when we saw these movies. I might have seen them years ago. But the time is not relevant. The fact that we've already seen the films is relevant to the present moment, because at this moment, we're choosing a movie to watch. In the last case, it's relevant that I've cried too much lately, because it affects my choice of movie. I don't want to watch another movie that will make me cry. I've cried too much. So the third function of present perfect is to talk about past events that affect the present or are relevant to the present. And we can illustrate this with a timeline. Present perfect shows a past event that is connected to the present. Here's another example. Do you want to get lunch?
No thanks, I've already eaten.
She doesn't mention when she ate, but the important thing is that her having eaten is relevant to the current decision not to go to lunch. She's not hungry now, so she uses present perfect. Now, what she didn't say, but was implied, was that she'd just eaten lunch, or at least she'd eaten lunch recently enough that she wasn't hungry. This is the last reason we use present perfect, to speak about immediate past events. Let's look at another example. She ran 5 miles earlier. She has just run 5 miles. You can tell by the sentences, by the tense, past simple, or present perfect, and by the word just, which of these events happened more recently. Clearly, the woman in the purple jumpsuit has just finished running. She's just run 5 miles. This is also where Americans tend to use the past tense, where British speakers tend to use the present perfect. So, personally, I often say, I just ran 5 miles. I use just with the past simple. But as we are teaching British English to our students, we must remember to use the present perfect if it's something that has just happened, something that is in the immediate past. Now, back to our president. What should he have said about Frederick Douglass?
Well, since the amazing job Frederick Douglass did was during his lifetime, sometime between 1818 and 1895, a finished time period, the president should have said, Frederick Douglass is an example of someone who did an amazing job.
Okay, here are your next steps. Take the short quiz below, and in the comments section, tell us a crazy life experience you've had and something you've done recently. And be sure to use the present perfect when you speak about these experiences. We'll see you in the next video.